T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everybody. I'm back again. Happy Friday to any and all as they come in or as they watch it later. As you guys can see, little mama is in full-on ham mode. My co-pilot, our channel mascot, and an overall internet star. Love her to pieces. I just don't know what I'm going to do with her sometimes. So, anyway, I figured we would spend Friday just kind of farting around, talking about a little bit of whatever. Especially since this Friday is not the start of a weekend for me. This is actually the start of a work week, as I am working all weekend this weekend. So there we have it. Nurse life, it is what it is. So hi, I love you. You're a good girl. Can't get nothing done. All she sees is herself on the screen, y'all. Sorry. Figured we would start off with some reaction work, which is not generally normal for me, especially not in the live stream aspect. Just to, kind of boost some conversation. Hopefully somebody will show up here shortly. I mean, I know there are a couple of other live streams scheduled this evening that I did not really anticipate, but it is what it is. So that's what I got. So let's start with Foodie Beauty, Chantal Marie, Psycho Supreme. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Let's talk about, let's see, screen one. Yes. Allow. Hi, Cowboy Dog. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to be talking shite, so pay me no mind. I wanted to discuss these last two videos of hers where she got into it with other people.
I want you to just
Let me adjust that.
what I'm eating and think of binge eating disorder as not what I'm eating, but as a mental restriction with food, okay? Let me see if I can get...
You cannot disregard what you're eating in relation to food when it has to do with the particular illness that you are describing. So that is kind of mental gymnastics going on there. You still have to kind of weigh that in simply because, hell, Amberlynn said it herself. She, food addicts and binge eaters are not addicted to broccoli and rice. So you do have to take that into consideration. So I don't know where she's getting that from, but it is what it is.
For something. Julia? No sauce. Do you like crabs?
Oh, Christ. I forgot about the stupid cat
Diet
stuff.
culture literally conditions people to have eating disorders. Like, for example, all of these comments I see, these people are conditioned as well. Like, saying, this is a reasonable meal to me. Okay.
That is really not a reasonable meal. Not trying to be ugly, but if that's a pound of crab, realistically, I believe the actual serving size on crab legs is a half a pound per person. Then add on top of it, you're looking at all these vegetables, which the vegetables I don't mind. It is what it is. But throw the spring rolls on top of it, then yes, there is a problem. And this is not an issue with diet culture. This is an issue with people are sick of watching this woman slowly eat herself to death and be completely in denial about it.
Okay, it might not. You might think the spring rolls are fried; they're not healthy. That's your personal opinion.
That's the opinion of every medical journal documented in history.
And you may be right, but it still doesn't exacerbate an eating disorder. What does, and I've learned this, and I know you're thinking, oh, you're an expert on eating disorders. Yes, I have an eating disorder, therefore I want to become an expert on it so that I can learn from it and I can help others and I can cure myself and I can help myself by educating myself on.
First of all, there is no such thing as curing oneself. There is also not a thing of becoming an expert on an illness that you have without the assistance of a doctor or some sort of medical team behind you. Being an educated patient does not make one capable of taking care of one's own issue. She equates this whole binge eating disorder thing to cancer. I'll let her get to that.
No matter, like for example, if somebody's diagnosed with cancer, it's not uncommon for them to go and seek many educate themselves and seek out information that could help them better understand what they're going through. So
right, and that's where the problem arises. Just because they educate themselves to broaden their knowledge base and to allow them to help themselves, which is part of what I do every day, teaching people how to take care of themselves. That does not negate the fact that people with cancer still go through cancer treatment. They still rely on their doctor. They still rely on their medical team to guide them through that process because they obviously have more knowledge than any cancer patient will ever have. I can't with the eating.
That's something that I've been doing. And something clicked like, okay, it's about the mental conditioning. So you have to mentally decondition yourself to labeling food as bad. So when you watch me and you say, that food's going to kill you, that food is bad. No, food is food. It's not evil. It's not good. It's neutral. It's just food.
That is actually a yes and a no response simply because there is no good or bad, but there is healthy and unhealthy. And let's be realistic. Her choices, for the most part, lean to completely unhealthy. It is neutral. It does not carry out an action, but the fact is your body does respond to it in a particular way, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. That's just a fact.
It's how we utilize things, right? It's like blaming the gun for shooting somebody.
Oh, wait. Now this right here, I just got to say right off the get-go, this is the same woman who's got more than one video where she's lambasting the Second Amendment, saying that no one in America should be able to have guns because guns kill people. The whole Pumped Up Kicks video is nothing but her telling the United States to go F themselves and to F our gun rights because guns kill people. Wait a minute now.
The same thing. And restriction and cutting out certain foods, such as saying, this is bad, I shouldn't eat this, I should just eat some vegetables and crap. It is restriction, and that perpetuates the binge cycle. So I'll post the binge spots.
I'm over her and her foolishness.
Make sure there's no sauce. As you can see, that guilt, that restriction when you overeat, like, okay, I'm not going to eat this anymore at all. No, it doesn't work that way. That causes a binge. And I hate to use this as an example in I'm not targeting, I'm not being rude.
Here's the part I was really waiting on.
But it is public, so I'm allowed to comment on it,
Then she better not ever say anything else. She better not say anything else about anybody ever having anything to say about what she posts because she is utilizing it. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
The Hungry Fat Chick she has binge eating disorder too. I know exactly what she's going through.
No, ma'am, you don't. let's be realistic here. Candy has a very traumatic history, which she has expressed in great detail. You being a spoiled little snot your entire life, who's grown into a full-fledged adult with entitlement problems, does not mean that you and her have anything in common.
I fully support her, and I feel like she's, I understand what she's going through, okay? But what I don't support is the carnivore diet because it's super unreasonable. It's counterproductive to binge eating recovery.
Oh, let's pause there. All it would have taken is a quick little internet search to see several articles and videos of people saying that going carnivore has actually cured their BED. Now, while it may be anecdotal based on, the number, it doesn't change the fact that with certain people, it does actually help them resolve those unhealthy disordered eating habits.
Okay. And that's how I've done that for so many years too. I still struggle every day with that mindset. Okay. Every time I eat something like this, I immediately think after, oh my gosh, I did so much wrong today. I might as well go binge up. No, I have to catch myself and recondition my thinking, getting rid of those food rules, saying, it's fine. I had a few spring rolls. I'm not, nothing's going to happen. I can have them again in the future. This is not bad food. Okay. This is a single portion that I bought. So it's like carnivore diets like that are restrictive. You cannot, with somebody with binge eating, you cannot eat. And I think they can cause binge eating because.
And how exactly would she know that?
What happens when so many people fall off? Why? Why do people fall off? Because I have to note here that I'm not picking on anyone. I go through the same cycle over and over as well, especially when I restrict. I mean, restrict with fad diets, fruit-only diets, etc. I'm not saying all diets are bad, but they are counterproductive to healing from binge eating disorder. And have to get back into keto reboot or whatever. You think that eating red meat every day with butter on it is healthy? Really?
It's definitely healthier than the fried spring roll that you've got in your hand.
And nothing but that? You want steak? Have it steak, butter, baked potato, broccoli. What's wrong with that? Are you?
Plenty. It's not for everybody. Just like everything else is not for everybody. That's just the way that it goes. So, I mean, can we, for just a moment, and I'm going to take this off screen here. There we go. Oh my goodness, I had folks show up. What's up, Riley and Kimmy? Hey, y'all. What's up? Y'all are so awesome. I'm so glad that somebody made it. I kind of felt like I was talking to myself for a minute there, but hang on. Let me go back and just see the hoop she's jumping through in order. Amen. This chick should have been in therapy a long time ago. Realistically, inpatient treatment would probably have been the best bet for her, but we already know that she will absolutely refuse to give up control of anything because she's insane. Yeah, that's consistent for her, I think, realistically. And she said it before that she has TMJ. And to the level that it's at for her right now, realistically, they would have to break her jaw and reset it in order to get it to actually stop doing that. But you already know, old girl is not going to do without the ability to chew for any length of time at all. Thank you. That's exactly the point that I was making. She was trying to say that food is no more responsible for killing people than guns are for killing people. But this is in the same vein of her trying to use that as an argument amidst the whole video before the Pumped Up Kicks video. So for me, it's just like the logic. Yes, I agree. I think that realistically, she has no desire to lose weight, and she's trying to hang on to anything that she can at this point to basically kind of make this easier for her to slide by, especially since we both all know that this one right here is he's wanting her to lose weight. I mean, he's tired of basically being her hired help. She absolutely does, but this is supposed to be a college-educated woman, which I find inherently extremely amusing. Right. A single spring roll is a serving. So here she is. She's trying to equate that entire container as a serving. Just because they're given in packs of 3 does not necessarily mean that 3 is the total, is the single serving. So it doesn't make any sense. Okay. There's that foolishness. Let me see. Let me see if I find a different way here. Shift 6. Nope. Hang on. I'm gonna have to share the screen again. Screen 1. Allow. There we go. Boom, baby. All right, now here we are. Next day. And here's where it gets fun. And this is part of what prompted me to do that little bit on the last set of nonsense on her part.
I also want to apologize.
I'm sure you do.
In my last video.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was, came off as very arrogant when I was talking about, hungry fried chicken, the carnivore diet.
Oh, how much you want to bet that the people in her comment section who would include her Beezers gave her a little bit of shit for talking about candy. You can almost bank on that.
I did see that she's lost a significant amount of weight. So whatever she was doing was working. And you know what? I'm very proud of her. It's not easy. And she doesn't need my approval or anything, but I just think that's really awesome of her. And I congratulate her on her weight loss. And that's awesome. Actually, did it mean anything bad?
Yes, ma'am, you did. Yes, ma'am, you did. There's no question about that. We know you did. Spare us. You're backpedaling. Unfortunately, you don't have the strength to do that. You've already opened the mouth, inserted the foot, and swallowed the toes.
Or to make fun of her for her particular choice, but I just meant for me personally. I meant to describe my issues with carnivore diet.
You've never done carnivore diet, so what issues could you possibly have with a diet that you've never done? Oh, wait. Other than the possibility that Sala may find out that Candy lost weight doing carnivore, and he may insist that you do it too, right?
I'm not saying that this diet is healthy or any better. I'm not comparing.
You absolutely are.
But that was just my opinion on it. But I realized it came up, my delivery was arrogant, which
That's pretty much your standard response to everything.
I tend to do sometimes. And I maybe only realize
after you caught some shit for it. Just say it.
I've uploaded and said my piece.
Could that be simply because you don't think things through and you simply open your mouth and allow word vomit to spill out and then you upload it? Could that be some of it? I have to wonder. I mean, I understand that that's what you've become accustomed to, Foodie, but let's be realistic here. People out here in the real world actually have to account for the things that they say. And you're no different in that regard. So why it is that you feel like this is something new for you is beyond understanding for me. Absolutely 100% rally. And that's part of why I try to do the videos that I do. I do them on her and on ALR simply because I get so irritable with the fact that the two of them twist whatever little bit of information they can get their hands on to try to justify their actions. And when they do things like that, all it does is it misrepresents the medical community, specifically the people that she's interacting with. And then what it does is it confuses people who don't have any kind of knowledge base in that area. Misinformation is worse than having none. And it's infuriating. I can't guarantee that, but I would almost bet that, yeah, because a lot of people in this community, including people that follow her, like Candy. And it's because Candy's a genuinely nice lady who actually has been through some real shit, unlike Foodie and unlike ALR. I mean, hell, Candy, as far as I'm concerned, Candy is a survivor. She's a down chick. She's been through it. She's a warrior. She's just trying to figure out her way to reach that point where she can get that victory at the end. And I'm 100% for it. I mean, I made a video myself talking about, with her health status, what possible complications she may have by doing carnivore. But I specifically said in that video, directed to her, that I am all for her doing this if it means improving her health, and that I hope nothing but success for her. And she has had nothing but success so far, even with the momentary setback where she did sort of fall off track and like actually following it for about a day there. She kind of lost track for a minute. But she got right back up on the horse and kept right on G'ing it out, man. She is doing it. She's doing the damn thing, and I'm hella proud of her. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me realistically what direction you go in attaining a healthier life, a healthier body, a healthier mindset. So long as you're doing it in a way that doesn't cause you any harm in the process. And that's really where my focus is. I mean, even with how I'm doing things. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it earlier. I posted a picture where I weighed myself earlier today, covered up my feet because I know some people have a thing about feet. I am at 201.6 pounds. I am less than 2 pounds away from being back in Wonderland. And not everybody will agree with the fact that I do the intermittent fasting because it's not made for everybody. A lot of people will probably not agree with the fact that I do like a sort of dirty keto in combination with the intermittent fasting, but that's what's working for me. I mean, I've been on like a dirty keto since I had bariatric surgery 20 some odd years ago. And I can't help the fact that menopause just kind of went whoosh and kind of slapped 60 pounds on my butt, but I had to figure something out because what my normal wasn't doing it for me. It absolutely does rally. And I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, we've 9 times. This is actually, though, what I will say about all of this is the fact that at least she actually said I was wrong about this. 9 times out of 10, she would have just doubled down on it. But I think where she finds herself out these days, that where Candy is concerned, that is going to be a losing battle for her. Thank you. And hell yeah, I ain't gonna tell you the lie. I happy danced away from that scale, y'all. I wasn't playing about it. Yes, like all things, she has a selective memory about the fact that she did drugs as a method of weight loss, so that isn't anything new. She's very selective in what she's willing to agree to. It is what it is. Menopause is actually, girl. Okay, so real talk. I didn't even really realize that that's what was going on. All I knew is that I put on a bunch of weight, which some of it I kind of brushed it off onto a part of the grief process because, my mom died. And the first 2 weeks after my mom died, I lost like 15 or 16 pounds. My appetite was nil. Then I started actually making myself eat some so that I wouldn't, get sick. And then from there, over time, my appetite sort of kind of rebounded. And then I gained that 16 pounds that fell off. I gained that back. And then I started gaining more. So on top of it, I was just like, okay, I am depressed. I can acknowledge that. I am not, I have no disillusion about that. Hi, Blondie. Hello, Blondie dear. I appreciate you coming in. Hopefully we'll catch you on the replay. I had just figured that that's what it was. Then I started having trouble sleeping. Even after quite a bit of time, my inability to sleep a full night through is what got me that in combination with the weight gain. But I will tell you what drove me absolutely bonkers. And this is what actually led me to go into the doctor, because I've done that before where I've had long periods of time where I didn't sleep well and I just kind of be like, it'll pass. I had, and I didn't know it at the time, but I found out afterward when I was doing reading and everything around the topic, the bends of my legs where my groin is would itch so bad that I would want to like just claw my skin off. And I didn't realize that was even a symptom, to be truthful. I mean, I knew about the hot flashes. I knew about the night sweats. I knew about all those standard ones that you hear about. But, I didn't realize there was a bunch of subtle nuances involved in this that, doesn't really get talked about. And, yeah, girl, yeah. Yeah. Hang on. While we're talking about this. Hang on. Because apparently there are others. Okay. Just to kind of go over it. Pain circumstances. Pain during sexual intercourse. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret about that. A lot of people don't really know this, but when you have anemia, it can cause you to have painful sort of sensation, like at the beginning, like during that extracurricular activity and all. So I knew about that. I've had that happen before, so I didn't think anything of it. Okay, so that just kind of went out the window. Okay, then here's your standard ones: fatigue, night sweats, hot flashes, or sweating. Okay, those were the ones that I was accustomed to. All right, with the sleep cycle, early waking, or insomnia. Like I said, I brushed that off as it being a part of, the grieving process. I didn't think anything of it. Hair, you have dryness or loss of scalp hair. I've had that issue sort of on and off since I had weight loss surgery, especially if I am not careful to be sure that my vitamin levels and mineral levels stay in check. If I even get slightly out of whack out of that, my hair I can brush or I can wash and I'll end up with it I'll have stuck to my hand, sort of a thing. Now it says also common. Anxiety, dry skin, irritability, moodiness, reduced sex drive, and vaginal dryness, which is, from what I understand, when I talk to my doctor about all this, that is kind of where that itching, wanting to claw my skin off sensation is. It's like that whole area down there is just, the Bermuda Triangle as a whole is dry, not just the hoo-ha. You know what I'm saying? So it's just wild. I did notice too, like I had skin changes. I was having like little breakouts and stuff all over my face. But I'm going to tell you, the big thing, I was like, girl, doc, something's got to give here. I can't deal with this. I worked too hard to keep the weight off my butt over the last 20 years. And here I am. I done gained 60 pounds. And it ain't even been a full year since my mom died. I can't deal with this. Well, I'm going to tell you, I haven't really done, the only thing over the counter that I use is DHEA, which is actually a secondary sort of supplementation. You can get it, from any health food store, but it works best if you pair it with an estrogen, whether it be like a soy estrogen or something like that. But I actually do topical estradiol, which actually works really great. I started doing the topical estradiol. Within a week of using it, all of my symptoms were gone, except for the fact that I still had 60 pounds camping out on my butt, which, led me into this whole weight loss journey situation type of deal, as Amber likes to say. Thank you. It's been really a difficult process, and, every day is kind of different. Some days I'm okay. And then there are some days where I just can't not think about it. And I just want to, not want to be around people at all and just stay away. And it's kind of complicated my entire family dynamic. And Fiona's mom, I mean, if you've kind of looked at any of the videos that I've posted, it has really been some hell of a process to go through in relation to dealing with my dad. Which, by the way, y'all, he married old girl. They've been married now. Let's see. Oops, wrong thing. 4 weeks as of today. And I haven't heard a lot out of him since. I've talked to him maybe twice. I'm just kind of leaving him alone on it. I mean, I don't have a good feeling about it, but, he doesn't want to hear it from me. He doesn't give a crap what I think or what I feel about it. And, I mean, what else am I supposed to do? I mean, my mom wasn't even gone a year and my dad was dating this woman. And it was like he couldn't find another person fast enough. It's just like, wow. Exactly like Kim said, wow. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to trauma dump, but there were whole circumstances around the menopause situation, so it made it really hard initially to kind of pinpoint that's what it was. But now that I know, it made it easier to kind of deal with like my physical side effects. It is, and it's just, I mean, the only thing really that I can think to do is just kind of sum it up as that's what happens when somebody dies, especially when the most important person in your life dies. And then add on top of it, my mom was probably I wouldn't say the most important person in the community, but she was really very important to the community that I was raised in. And because she was the doctor over the hospital, so even a year later, I mean, if I go over there, people will stop me and want to talk to me about her. I mean, because everybody knew her, everybody loved her. So it's just one of those things, Can imagine, but my fiance found each other 6 months after she passed. We didn't plan for it. No, I get that. Well, but here's the caveat, Fiona. My mom and dad met at 15. They got married at 16. And they were married 43 years. So as you can imagine, my dad has zero dating experience. He has no idea the kinds of games that come with dating in this current age. Your fiance's wife? Is that who you're talking about? I mean, I asked that question because that's kind of the circumstances with my mom dying. I mean, it was very sudden. It was an accidental situation. Right. Well, I get that. And I mean, I'm not trying to say that, there's anything wrong with your relationship with your fiance. That's not what I'm saying at all. Please don't feel like that's the case. But knowing what I know about my dad and the relationship that he had with my mom, I mean, he was with her, I mean, most of his life, majority of his life, actually. And to me, number one, he's never been by himself. And he actually said it a few times. He was like, I don't know how you and your brother do this. I don't know how to be by myself. And I'm like, dude, you kind of have to learn. It's not like something that you wake up with, it's not a superpower or anything like that. You have to kind of learn how to do it. No, I'm not, you didn't trigger me. Not at all. I mean, and I get it. But I mean, ideally, I don't fault any input that you give me, Fiona, at even in the least. I'm not going to fault you that at all. I just, it's just, this is realistically, the only reason I brought any of it up is because it's been a really complicated grieving process for me, especially in relation to how things have gone since my mom died. New wife aside and all that stuff, I don't really have that much of a connection with her, and she really, I think she kind of knows that I'm not digging the idea of being buddy with her, which, maybe over time, but for right now, I'm just not vibing with her. But, I worry about him. I don't think that he's really dealt and processed with his grief and everything. Right. And that's the main thing. My grieving process kind of started later than everybody else's because I was having to be everybody's shoulder in this situation. Nobody wanted to go to my dad because, number one, my dad wouldn't talk to anybody. He literally would not come out of the house and come out. He wouldn't answer the phone except for when I called or my brother called or, certain people. People would show up at their house. He wouldn't open the door, wouldn't open the gate to the property, So, people were coming to me. When is there going to be a ceremony? What are y'all going to do for this? Are y'all going to do anything for that? And, when is her funeral going to be? And what, is it going to be a closed casket? Is it going to be open casket? And having to have those same conversations over and over again like that. It was very tough. Just the fact that I'm able to talk about it now speaks to exactly how much I've grown from all this and how well I'm handling things. Especially, I don't know if I would say that. The way I kind of explained it to somebody was, my mom was kind of that go-to person. She was that person for everybody. So when she passed, it had to fall on somebody. And unfortunately, it just happened to fall on me. And it sucks. And I get told all the time, really, that I'm strong, and I'm glad that people think so. But it does come with a lot of baggage that a lot of people really don't realize, you know. Um, Not always good stuff either, you know. So the biggest part of it, the biggest downfall to being even identified as somebody who has strength or being a strong person, is that 9 times out of 10, most people kind of look at you and they go, oh, they're a strong person, they can handle this, and they kind of get left to their own devices, which I'm kind of accustomed to. You know, that has happened a lot. It usually takes a strong person to be in a full-on crumble to the floor mess before people go, oh shit, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with them. Well, that's true. Right. But a lot of people don't see it that way though, Kimmy. You know, they get so accustomed to you being able to deal with things on your own and being tough enough to handle trials and tribulations and stuff that they figure that they kind of develop this mindset like you're almost impervious to things, which is really the furthest thing from the truth. But it is what it is. You know, what can you do? Okay. Real quick. So let's talk about some random shit. Let's stop talking about I'm on a timeout. I'm on intensive outpatient. Girl, I cannot tell you how many times I seriously considered going to outpatient, but I was just like, I just figured, you know, I'm going to give myself some time. I'm going to allow myself to navigate this process. And if I can't get past this without some sort of outside intervention, then I'll seek somebody out. But in the meantime, I just, Exactly. That's 100% it. They kind of designate you as the person that, you know, they kind of gauge their response based on. And, you know, a big part of that made things complicated for me because I couldn't actually grieve the way that I wanted to or felt like I needed to in front of other people because all it did was amplify things for them. So I spent a lot of my grieving process by myself doing that, which is one of the reasons why I actually created the channel, because I was going through so much and making so many changes to my life and to myself and to the way that I think about things and the way that I do things and stuff like that. That's what prompted me to start the channel. Now, the girl world stuff, like I said, is just a side. It's like I'm trying to think of what it's called. Like a side mission. You know how y'all play video games and there's a little, or side quest. There's a little person with like a little jewel over their head and their whole purpose is to give you a side quest. That's exactly what this is. The only difference is I had 2 fat women. That's amazing. And I'm going to have to go and add you to my channel list so that I can keep up with that, because honestly, I think that's amazing. I don't think there's enough conversations around mental health, especially with certain types of things, you know, and I think that really needs to be more of an open and honest conversation. Yeah, see, and that's kind of realistically, let me try that again. What it is that I'm trying to do, like with this channel. I mean, I'm not really going hard in girl world, foodie, and ALR and stuff. I mean, that is, like I said, that's side quest material. I mean, realistically, this was supposed to be for me to document, you know, the things that I'm doing and the changes that I'm making, simply because, you know, I want to kind of feel like my life is mine again, especially when my life is kind of not entirely my life anymore since my mom is gone, you know, because my projection, the image that I had in my head of what my life was going to be, of course, had her in it. It had me growing old with her. I mean, she was only 16 years older than me. So, you know, having that happen, it gives a huge change a perspective on, okay, this is not normal, and I don't know if I want this to be my normal, but I'm stuck with it. So what do I do? How do I maneuver around this? So I'm going to change the subject. Let's just talk about all kind of random nonsense that kind of pops up. What do y'all think of the Jason Aldean video situation? I know y'all have heard about it. Everybody's heard about it. They've been talking about it all over Twitter. It's on the news, God and everything. Matchbox 20. Girl, we talked about Matchbox 20. Didn't we? Or at least I thought we did. Well, the Matchbox 20 thing, I mean, that I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. That is the first time that I've been to a concert since before my mom died, where I didn't have problems. I guess it's like a secondary effect sort of thing. Maybe like a PTSD thing, I guess. I mean, like I was having trouble being around large groups of people. And I think a lot of that might have been simply because of having so many people around after my mom died. There was more than one attempt at me trying to go to a concert where I just flat out lost it for a minute and was like, I'm going back to the house. I'm going back to the house. Forget this. I don't need to go that bad. I'm going back to the house. And this is the first time that I've actually followed through and actually stayed for the whole thing and didn't get overwhelmed. Yes, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, I did. I mean, it, like I said, it kind of really took me back to some points in my life that I had not thought about for a while, whole situations that didn't involve any of the stuff that's gone on in the last couple of years. So, and I meant what I said about Rob Thomas and the rest of that group. If they continue to perform the way that they do now, even on those songs that are 20 plus years old, they're going to have like some serious staying power, no doubt. They'll end up being one of the greats. Okay, so Free Reign. I think it really depends on the song, though, Kimmy. I mean, there's certain ones that I think there might only be like one or two songs per album out of a solo bunch that I like, but then I'm kind of like that with pretty much every group or every artist. I don't like an entire album for the most part. There's always one or two out of each one that I like. My music tastes are very diverse, eclectic. I can give an example. Hang on. And y'all are probably going to be like, what in the world is this? Video file. Let me find it. Where it be, because I know I got it. Okay. This is the guy that I follow on YouTube. His name is Pierre XO. He is an amazing artist. He's great. He puts out great YouTube content. He's a beautiful person.
Bitch, you fucking with a motherfucking Martian, pushing all these hoes in the pit and the Martian levitate a bitch, take a cue and I solve it. I can super root in the hood like I'm Robin. Coming the king of the dream, look at the rings, rolling the one on the sea. Ring the sirens, fuck a virus, you know what I mean? Underneath the Scorpio, I'm rolling with no phobias. I ain't scared of shit. likes to weaponize and turn you blind into divine. The real look like a lie, the lie look like the realest, cause they splitting up the village with a message on the ceiling. The sky made out the glass, we get masses, stuck in lower classes. All the money go to motherfucking taxes. Tell us where the racks, where the cheddar go, while they sitting back, having jack, grabbing straps and shooting max. While we isolated, split apart and told the limit conversation, save ourselves from a contagion. Fuck each other up on the basis of a racist. Blame all the problems to all these other nations. Drones coming through, telling you to stay inside. We ain't made to be this kind. You'll be safe if you're blind. Drones coming through, telling you to stay inside. We ain't made to be this kind. You'll be safe if you're blind. Safe if you're blind. Safe if you're blind.
Okay, so that's Pierre. I didn't want to play the whole thing for you guys, but like his stuff, he's kind of gone all over the place with like the type of songs that he makes, but like this one, and he's got a couple of other ones that he's done that just, oh man, they are absolute bops. And I love all of his stuff. I mean, that's just an example. I mean, I do country, I do his stuff, which, you know, I mean, is, I don't even really know how you would classify that realistically. Pop, rock. I'll tell you another one. He's probably, I don't know if you guys have heard of him or not. Tom McDonald, he's on YouTube. He's actually huge independent. A lot of his stuff tends to stem toward the political, but you know, I still like his music, and it's just because a lot of it is very well thought out. He creates everything on his own. The beat, the lyrics, the videos, all of it is done between him and his girlfriend. And that, to me, that's a level of showmanship that you don't really see too much anymore. Yep. Yacht rock. I don't think I've ever heard of that. I'm gonna have to look that up. What tattoos do you have, and are you comfortable sharing the meanings of them? Absolutely. Well, I'm actually covered in them. The ones that you guys can see, well, I'm kind of holding it up as best I can. That is actually an AA symbol with a heart woven through it. There we go. And the heart and the AA symbol are actually made out of stone. I'm going to have to take this one off, take my watch off to show you guys this one. This one, which is kind of hard to see, and it's been there so long and it's had so much sun exposure, it's really kind of hard to tell, but it's a crown of thorns. And there is actually a clouds with 3 crosses in the skyline, and it says let go and let God. It's all black and white. Like I said, it's seen a lot of sun exposure. There's been a lot of bleeding and fading. Put my watch back on here. On this arm, which is only part of a finished tattoo. There's actually supposed to be more that goes up here, and there's supposed to be a whole section that goes across right here. I had this done. This right here took about 6.5 hours all total to do, simply because the guy that I was using, his hands started to go to sleep because he's very he was very detail oriented and everything, and he was a firm believer in solid color shading and all that. But this is supposed to be kind of like a dedication to nursing for me, and the sort of feeling that I get from being able to do what I do. This is another sobriety tattoo. AA is the missing piece. And I'm going to add to this too. So eventually I will have 2 half sleeves. This one right here, which I've had for a while. Sorry. Let me see. There we go. It says, "This too shall pass." And that's actually my mom's handwriting. I had her write it down for me. Didn't tell her what I was doing with it until after I got it, because she used to say that to me all the time. I have that one. God is greater than the highs and lows. That one is probably that's the newest one, which I think I got a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. I have more everywhere. I have them everywhere. Thank you. I try to take care of them because I don't want to end up with basically big old blotches, kind of like that one. That one's really turning into a big blotch. But I try to take really good care of my work. I have in total, okay, I have 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 5. I have 11 tattoos in total. I only showed you guys 5, but I have 3 across the upper part of my back. I have 1 on my lower back, and I have 1 on each ankle. I have a collection. I tell people they're kind of addictive. Very few people actually get a single tattoo and are happy and satisfied with a single tattoo. Definitely that way for me. I will probably have more tattoos than I have need for before it's done and over with. Oh, 70s rock. Right. Well, I tell people too, especially people who've never gotten them before, that if you're 2 things. I don't have anything on my feet. I got kind of recommended against that like really early in. I tell people who don't have them 2 things. Number 1, don't get something just because it's cute or you think it looks good. Whatever it is you put on your body, you need to make sure that it has some sort of personal significance to you that's going to be a long-standing thing, because otherwise you're probably going to end up hating it. Number 2, be prepared to end up with more than 1, because very rarely do people ever stop at 1. It's painful, but kind of like childbirth, the pain goes away and you forget about it, and you're so happy with the end result that you end up talking yourself into another one and another one and another one. I have 1. I'm sure you could work out getting another one. I mean, if there should be some sort of way around that, I would think, right? My niece actually has one on her foot. But I've never gotten one because, they say that the skin cells on the hands and feet reproduce a lot faster than elsewhere on the body, which means you may have to have touch-up work and everything done on it. And as bony as the foot is, I really don't see me wanting to sit through that twice. All good, Cowboy Dog. It's totally fine. I kind of figured you were still here and you were just kind of lurking in the background, which is okay. Closest I've gotten to doing the foot, though, like one of the ones on the ankle actually curves around the bone in the ankle on the outside. And that was probably the most painful spot I think I've ever experienced. I mean, even the ones like on the spine for me really weren't difficult. This one wasn't bad at all. And to me, it's because, most people say that like the ones on the spine hurt really bad. But for me, I could feel it in my limbs, depending upon, the upper or the lower back. I could feel it like in the upper back. I could feel it down in my arms and my fingertips, but it wasn't painful. It was just like a vibration, You got really lucky then. So apparently, but you got to do kind of like be on the lookout, keep an eye on it. And you do got to make sure that you put sunblock on it. Otherwise, you're looking at stuff like that being the end result. If I'd had any idea, I probably never would have got that, especially since it's, black and white. Ooh, hang on. videos. Okay. It is regular tobacco. Hey, shit, yeah, me too. I mean, I go out in the sun some. I mean, but not a lot. I mean, I'm too fair skinned. Last time I went out in the sun for any extended period of time, and this has been some years ago, I had the bright idea that I was going to go scalloping with some friends, and I was slathering with like 60 SPF, and I still got fried. I had like blisters along my bathing suit line. Ooh. Yes, ma'am, that's mint. Let me see if it'll let you. It says Miami Mint. I don't know what brand it is. It doesn't actually say. Not the normal kind that I usually get, but this is the brand that I usually get. And I like the mint from them because it kind of tastes like spearmint gum. But they were out. So I had the guy at the station was like, he said, why don't you give this one a try? So that's kind of what I'm working with until those other ones come back in. But yeah. God bless her. I don't know how she hasn't turned into a human puddle at this point. Man. Stuff down there is just like off the chain right now. I just can't even. Downloads. Whoops. Videos. No. I'm a little bit of a cheater. I be doing a lot of stuff outside, but I do it like early in the morning and late in the evening, late in the day, so that I don't have to deal with direct sun and I don't have to deal with the high heat index. How it is that your friend is even having any kind of normal life, seeing as she lives in South Florida, I don't know how it's even possible. That's wild. God bless her. Oh, little mama. She there was no telling, to be honest, but she took a little momentary nap and everything while I was doing all the responding to those videos from Foodie, and then she got up and wandered out. She's probably hanging out with Jinx. That's her boyfriend. Her loves him. If she's not right up underneath me, she's right up underneath him. That's usually the way it goes. She's a sweet girl. I will tell y'all though, y'all did not get to see. Let's see, hang on. Oh, I didn't realize I had an extra camera option. Ooh, I did not realize that. Uh-oh. Oops. Well, God bless. See, and maybe it's just that I don't notice it. I mean, like I said, I kind of tailor my outside activities around particular times of day, and I'm definitely not going out in the middle of the day to do anything. I got a whole schedule around that sort of thing because I'm not fixing to be hot and sticky and uncomfortable. I'm just not. I absolutely refuse to, actually. What is crazy. Download. This thing is acting cuckoo. Hi, Grateful Life. It's good to see you. Okay, real quick, what I'm going to do, let's see. Well, I say I was going to. Whoops. My apologies. That was not my intention. I'm working on something real quick. Oh, Lord. Okay, tell you what. I was going to try to put up a video momentarily so y'all not having to stare at my wall. But I got to go into the next room real quick for just a second. My hair is making me absolutely bonkers, and I have no hair tie in here. Be right back. Oh, my goodness gracious. Yes. The other thing, I wasn't planning on for y'all to see me like this. If I'd had any intention of getting up, I would have put on some pants instead of just pajama bottoms. Cameo is actually wallpaper, believe it or not. You can actually specialty order it. Like I found the place on Etsy. You tell them what your wall measurement is, and they'll send it to you. And it's in like strips. Let me see. Like seam right about here, and then a seam right about there. So it's in strips about you wide, and you can maybe about 2 feet. But I will tell you this: you're going to need 2 people to put it up because it is a handful. It would be virtually impossible for one person to do it by themselves. I found that out. I don't know if y'all noticed or not. I got some new additions. Put up a shelf since the last time we were live, and I'm going to use it to kind of house all my goodies. Because, like, see, there's my bowl. And then my homegirl, Nikki, that went axe throwing with me, she brought me, let me pull this down so I can show y'all. That's just a regular candle. My homegirl, Nikki, who went to throw axes with me, she brought me that. Which I thought was really cool. It's a really long necklace, you know, and I'm not real big on wearing really big jewelry like that. So I figured I would just put it in here. Let me see if I can get this thing back up here without causing any issues. Oh, come on, thing. There we go. Yep. So that's what's going to happen with that shelf up there. Every time I do something and I have like whatever from it, I'm going to put it on the shelf. So they're just going to be, hopefully, you know, over time, I'll have like a whole wall full of stuff over time, you know. I'm getting a cat from my bathroom. That would be freaking adorable. Adorable. I actually think I've seen that somewhere. Like in a magazine or something. But that's still cute, though, nonetheless. Mm. Okay. Holy moly, y'all. I'm being nosy. Skinny Queen's got 234 people hanging out with her. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of folks to manage. I don't know how she would be able to keep up with that many. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how like Yaba and FFG and them keep up with as many people as they do. That's insane. I don't know if you show it, if you explain it to him, he might actually find it kind of cool. Let's see. Oh, real quick, I would love to know how ALR is supposed to be doing Weight Watchers again when the girl has had so many secondary issues with Weight Watchers. She either binge eats all of her stinking points for the day and for the week all in one 24-hour period, or she claims that it makes her binge and that's why she binged out. But at the same time, it's too restricting. And there's not enough focus on calorie counting. Does anybody know that? Anybody notice that, or is that just me? Yeah, me too. Skinny's really cool. I mean, I actually had Rally at one point tell me that I should go on panel with her, but I mean, Skinny's never offered, and I don't want to be pushy. I mean, I did make a comment at one point where I think I actually said, and it wasn't long after her and that whole Veronica thing, I told her that if she ever wanted to do a panel that I'd gladly come on. And then I made the joke, free of charge, of course, and, put a laughing face behind it. But I think I might have made that joke at the wrong time. It might have just been like sore subject. That's all. He didn't say anything. Well, I mean, once upon a time, I was the type of person that I would be kind of like poor Amber and poor Foodie and this and that, but I'm well past that point now. I'm just kind of like, you know what? And I've said it many times in videos so far. If you want to eat whatever the hell you want and you want to stay fat, that's fine. Just go ahead and say it. Stop playing a game with people and just go ahead and make sure that you've got life insurance paid and just eat yourself to death if that's what you want to do. But stop manipulating people. That's the biggest issue that I have with the way these two girls do things, is the fact that they're very manipulative and they do it intentionally. I mean, we talked about me losing all this weight and what caused all that and stuff. And I don't know. But I mean, like, I'm not being manipulative with you guys. I'm not saying I'm going to do something and then, oh, well, whatever. I don't want to talk about it. I'm still talking about it. I'm being upfront about the things that are going on with me. All the foods measured and calories counted before the point system may have worked. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And that's a position that I've taken on it too, is that, I've said it, nobody out here is enjoying watching you do this to yourself. Nobody is actually getting enjoyment over watching you slowly die, which is exactly what's happening. And, But at the same time, lashing out at people for expressing to you, you're killing yourself and you're doing it slowly for the entire internet to see, you know, them lashing out about it. It's like, well, what did you expect? You know? I mean, it's entirely possible. I have no doubt about it at all. But ALR doesn't want to do it. Just like she doesn't want to do anything else. I mean, she said it herself when she joined Weight Watchers yesterday or the day before. It's the only thing I know to do. It's the one thing that she keeps going back to when the shit hits the fan and she doesn't have anything to talk about or she doesn't have anything to show for herself, which is really sad. I mean, just look at video. I can almost feel how she... Yeah. Oh, yeah. Swollen face, swollen hands, difficulty breathing. I'm sure her heart probably pounds in her chest every time she gets up and she moves around, which will explain why she doesn't want to get up and do anything, which includes going to the door to get a DoorDash delivery. You know, if it comes right down to it, if I had to wager money on it, Foodie's going to go down before ALR will. No doubt in my mind. Well, I think realistically, the food addiction is their primary thing, but what happens when you reinforce something that's already there? You know, it's only going to amplify it. So one feeds into the other, which feeds into the other. You know, it's real complicated that way. Yeah, I don't know. Did you see Jesse Retro Reading's video on that? Things are not looking good. I had heard of it, but I did not really I never really saw it like firsthand until I caught this whole foodie beauty stuff. It's really wild. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the bad thing is I have no doubt that I'm going to take a wild guess that we're probably going to be looking at a heart attack, like a solid heart attack. And realistically, at this point, I don't think that they'll be able to save her from it. You know what I'm saying? She ignores her symptoms so much that by the time they do get around to taking her to the ER, her ass will literally be dead, and it will be hard for them to save her because she has so much weight on her that doing chest compressions is going to be just about impossible. Rosie. Well, okay. I'm kind of on the fence about her. I do agree with a lot of her opinion on Foodie. I do agree with her on that, but I do think that there is a little bit of there's a little bit of leeriness where she's concerned simply because of that comment about her snatching the girl world crown. I do know that she has had like problematic history of sorts. I don't know exactly how far that goes. I do know that I'm not entirely 100% on her side of things, but I'm also not 100% against her either. Somewhere where people spread apart more than average white people. Well, okay. That's a yes and a no. If you'll think about this, if you'll think about it like this, in the grand scale of population, you have more overweight people than you do average weight people. So obviously the numbers are going to skew that way. But I will say this, Foodie is not overweight. I'm overweight. At 5'10", 201. I'm overweight. Foodie is super morbidly obese. It's an entirely different thing. Entirely different monster. Yep. Yeah, I think there's some of that. I think that's some of it between I know where you're coming from. I've been there before. I have binge eating disorder too. But for me, the part that kind of waves a little bit to manipulation was the conversation about I'm on short-term disability, which is about to be run out. I can't afford a therapist. I can't afford rent, sort of thing, like a dry begging sort of thing. That kind of lends a little bit to manipulation. Yep, Girl World calls it death fat, which is pretty fitting because, I mean, that's generally what happens with people of that size when they get to that point. And, you know, like take your Jen as an example. Jen's actual cause of death was probably not obesity, but it was illness that was secondary to obesity simply because, number one, her immune system was probably jacked up. She already had respiratory problems from atelectasis, which is compression of the lungs from excessive body weight, which we know Foodie has, and which we know Amber has. And I can almost guarantee that Jen probably had hypertension or some sort of CHF. So yeah, you're talking about like interlaced problems that just closed its hands and just squeezed the life out of her. That's not uncommon. It was stuff like that. I had ultimately was an anxiety attack. This was like 20 years ago. 350 pounds. I woke up in the middle of the night having chest pain. Thought I was having a heart attack. Come to find out it was just an anxiety attack, which was wild. But that was enough to scare my ass straight. You think Rose is having muscle memory issues from her feeder days, for instance, the pool and booby shots? Probably. I do think that the other thing too is that even though she may not necessarily actively feed into feeder content, she still knows what draws people's attention and draws eyes and draws conversation. So maybe. Right. Well, I mean, but at the same time, though, we know that it doesn't take somebody who's had a fairly significant amount of experience with mental health treatment in the past. They can learn enough that they can put that foot forward, like they know what they're saying. They know the lingo, but they don't really know all of it, and they don't know how everything works together and why. Okay, so let's see. While we're doing that, whoops. Why is it not letting me download? That's weird. Crap. Hang on a minute. Dagnabbit. I got to start preparing for these streams a little bit better, y'all. It just dawned on me how unprepared I am. Oh, shoot. Nope. Okay. Well, all right. I was trying to be funny. I was trying to get something together, but that didn't work out. I got to prepare better for the next time around. No, I'm 20 years in. That's why I'm side-eyeing. She came on the screen. Trauma dump. She has a minute. It'll play out. Thanks for her. Yeah. Agreed. I think realistically, I don't think she realizes exactly what type of community she's coming into. Based mainly off of the fact that she went in on this. She's a bigot. And then went into how dare she try to have conversations about binging disorder because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She kind of led into it with the, I hate foodie and you guys hate foodie. Let's hate foodie together. Not really the best way to establish some sort of connection with Girl World folks. Perry Mason. Oh my God. That's all you had to tell me. Hey there, Chicky Boo. Glad you made it, but that's okay. You can be as late as you want. All good here, man. Even if you just caught it like replay to later on tonight or tomorrow, it would have been fine either way. You're still here. That's what counts. Oh, no question. She's in too far over her head. She's speaking with a lot of authority on something, that she's not entirely versed in. Okay. Let me kind of relay this in a way where it might make a little bit of sense here. I have some of the same feelings about her that I have about your mama. As this. Rosie knows a little bit of a huge, bigger picture. Same with your mama. He knows a little bit of this huge, massive overall picture. The little bit is what they're running with, not knowing exactly how much else out there that they could trip over and make themselves look foolish. The difference is, mama doesn't care if he looks foolish. He just doesn't care at all. He's just here. He wants to make his coin. He wants to run that gator, whatever. Rosie, on the other hand, will trip over them. They're going to kind of be like landmines for her because she's going to have things to say, perspectives and opinions that are probably going to come from a place that are not entirely informed. Huh. Yeah, I thought she said she claimed she deleted everything because she didn't want to be a part of the feeder community. Huh. Right. That's another thing. I mean, why exactly would you want to be queen of this entire deal? Well, first off, if you ain't seen them, I done 2 videos on Breezy. Okay. Breezy is as much of a cow as Foodie and ALR and the rest of the bunch are. That's just the way it is. The only difference is that she's not 500 pounds. She still has the mindset, the behavior, all of that. It's all there. She thinks she's above recourse. She hides behind anything and everything that she can. She thinks that everybody's jealous of her and that they have something, that she has something that they want, and whatever. When in all reality, she really doesn't have anything. I mean, the house that she sits in, her parents gave her. She just, for the first time in her life, got a part-time job, which is sad coming from an adult who's never worked a day in their life prior to that. She has a child, which I don't know if I would call that a win for her, because ultimately I think either she was simply irresponsible with her vajayjay, or she was making an attempt to trap a man in the process, however you want to slice it. Probably still not a good look. Then she talks about the sobriety thing, which that irks the holy living piss out of me, because as somebody who actively works a program every day, how are you going to walk around acting like a dry drunk and then try to scream at the top of your lungs that you're sober? So she's just as bad. She's just not eating on camera and flashing her vag like these girls and all this other stuff. He absolutely is. Really? I didn't know that. I mean, I don't really watch Yo Mama like that. I'll tell you the reason why I don't watch him. Number one, I can't get past the laugh. It's like, bro, you're not that funny. Everything that you say is not funny. The skits that he does are mediocre at best. So maybe it's just too lowbrow for me. No, trust me, I have gone a little in depth, and what started the whole thing on the Jess Breezen front is how she was behaving with Jessica Meska. Jessica on her own, she's a hot mess. There's no question about it. But Jessica is making an attempt to try to be a better person. I can give her that. I can give credit where it's due. And, Breezen is not willing to do that. Yep. That too. No, it's not. Yep, 100%. Hey, how you doing, my perspective? What you got? What's going on with you? I got a lot of whole thought processes on a lot of these girl world folks. Kind of like, you can ask me about any of them and I'll give you, an unbiased opinion on them. I mean, I don't really get, and I did a whole video on this too at one point. I do not get this girl world Game of Thrones, my camp is my camp and your camp is your camp and our camps are aligned bullshit. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm sorry, but I don't owe any of you any allegiance simply because I seek out videos that have your name attached to them or put out by you simply for entertainment purposes. I mean, this is not somebody who contributes to my life in any significant way. You're absolutely not alone on that. Oh, garlic bread. Okay. First off, do I think that garlic bread is probably a dog like he's been described to be? Yes. I 100% believe that he has an overinflated ego to an extent simply because he has had smoke blown up his ass by too many women in this particular girl world sphere. I do think that he has a little bit of an air of arrogance to him in his videos. I mean, I don't mind his videos. For one, there's something, I can't sit through all of them. I have listened to some. There's just something about the tone, the clip of his voice that just doesn't quite click with me. So, I mean, I've had a few times of watching his videos, but number one, yeah, not a big fan. Two, I do not understand exactly what it is that Breezy saw in him, because obviously dude is not as handsome as he thinks he is. But then I prefer very masculine men. That's just me. But that's what it is. Thus far, Friday evening has been great. Unfortunately, my Friday evening is not going to end. I have to stay up all night tonight and flip my sleep schedule because I am on night shift all weekend. So, yep. Yep, agreed. Apparently there were plans, but nothing was ever followed through on. So, yeah, there's that. The part that got me was the whole discussion about getting married and never having met anybody. First off, I don't care how desperate I am. I ain't marrying you until I have spent enough time around you that I know you're not a crazy person. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. That's just the way it goes. I mean, I work every other, like I'm on every other weekend, and I might work like a weekday here and there. So, you know, I eke out this weekend and then I'm back to a normal routine again. Happens. Yep. Ouch. Okay. Speaking of men, folks, I don't know if my perspective is a chick. I dare not assume. And I don't know about Grateful Life. I don't know if Grateful Life's a chick. Right. It's like, let's figure this out. Yep, exactly. I made the comment. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure, Grateful Life. I dare not assume. Oh, I will. I'm going to be up. Oh, another chick. All right. I got a room full of chicks. Girl talk stuff time now. Yeah, girls. All right. I will absolutely get enough sleep. I just got to stay up through the night. I'll go to bed probably about 6, 7 in the morning, maybe a little bit later than that. Sleep straight through till 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, and then I'll be wide awake and get to go. No problem. I do this all the time. It can be a little bit pain in the butt, but, you know, so far I'm okay. All right. So, all right. I know at least one or two of y'all got y'all's significant others and everything. Who is the celebrity husbands? Who's the celebrity husbands? Everybody's got one that they're like, would that be my husband? If I had a chance, that one would be my husband. Let's hear who you got. I could have already. Don't ask me how I didn't already know that. Well, yeah. Ooh, good choice. There's something about his lopsided smile that is just so cute to me. I don't know why. We talking about Sharon George Michael or Sharon Rob Thomas? Oh, Rob Thomas. Well, there's no question about that. All right, let me find him. Let me find me a good picture here. That'll do. No, wait, that'll do. All right, I'm gonna show y'all. Share screen. Screen 1. Hello? And here be my dude. That's the boy right there. He's so pretty. God bless him. I love him a little scruffy. And he's a little scruffy. Love him. Love him. Love him. Tell him, be like, hey, I'm the chick that's still going to the bed with you later. Hush. Well, he realistically, I don't even know how old he is. Hang on. Now you done got me. He's 43. He's the same age I am. Damn, that's a good looking man for 43 years old. Holy moly. Holy moly. I can agree with that. Here's the other thing, though, too, and I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. On the whole Jason Momoa thing, it's not just that he's pretty. And he is so very pretty, okay? Very, very. That's a beautiful man. No doubt about it. But what I like about him is he is a genuinely happy guy. I mean, there is no video anywhere of anybody saying anything negative about him, like when they've interacted with him. And there's also nothing anywhere saying that he was a butthole to anybody. Anytime he ever does interviews, anytime he's ever on shows, he is genuinely just happy to be there and just to be living his life. And he's not one of those types that he seems to be like really grounded. And I like that about him. The fact that he's got buku bazoodles of money, but he really hasn't let that phase him in relation to who he is, says a lot about him. And that would be why Jason Momoa would be number 1 draft pick for me. See, that to me, okay. Got to say this. This is a little embarrassing for me. My dad is in that age range. So that for me might be a little too old. But the crazy thing is this is the age group of guys that are usually the ones that are interested. I would too, but I just don't really see a lot of excitement out of Keanu. You know what I'm saying? Keanu would be one of those ones that you sit down, you have a nice dinner, you hang out, you watch TV, you play board games, that kind of thing. I could not really envision doing the dirty with Keanu. Keanu would be like, that's my best homeboy type. Let's hang out. Girl, I ain't worried about that. Here's the other thing. I have spent the entirety of my career, for the most part, at one stage or another, always taking care of men in that age group. I do not want to have to deal with that at home. Well, and maybe that's the case with him, but you would never know it. See, there it is again. But see, that's the thing, though. There's no way to know if he actually has that edge to him because he is so chill and he is so good natured and he is, you know. I'll tell y'all another one. Hang on a minute. Kevin. Okay. Images. Okay, y'all are probably going to be like, oh my God. Y'all are going to be like, oh my God. Okay, so I don't know if any of y'all have heard of the Hodge twins. They're really big in the political side of YouTube right now. Oh, no question. No question. But I started following these guys well before they got into the politics side of things. Okay. I started following these guys years ago when they started doing like comedy and bodybuilding videos on YouTube. I'm going to share screen so you guys can see here. Oh, yes, ma'am. She called it. Sister called it. Look at you learning to live, girl. You got this. Look at this. These men folks right here. See, there's some handsome boys right there. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. They so pretty. See, both of them again. Pretty. You know what I'm saying? They are very, very crude. They are ridiculously crude. Very first video of theirs was, very first video of theirs that I found. I was on my way home from work and I was listening to YouTube videos. And they were responding to an email. The title of the video is, My Girlfriend's Toy is Bigger Than Me. And I'm going to tell you, oh my God. I was stopped at a stoplight at one point and I was just laughing so hard I was cackling. I mean, straight cackling. And the people in the car next to me were looking at me like I had lost my ever-loving mind. But this was well before they got into the politics stuff. They're still funny guys. I've seen them actually live. Let me see. And they are both really super nice guys, despite how vulgar they are. Let's see. All right. Real quick. Share screen. Hello. I actually got to meet them years ago. This was in Gainesville. And they put on a show in Gainesville, and it was absolutely hysterical. I laughed so hard that I cried at one point. They are just so smart, but they absolutely do. I absolutely do. Well, I know they might be too young for you, but even these two guys, they're in my age group. They're only a couple years older than me. But Kevin, you got two of them. One of them is super serious. That's Keith. Kevin is the goofy, lighthearted one. I absolutely adore Kevin. No doubt about it. But yeah, so I got me a particular type. I like my guys to be a little beefy. I like them to be, very masculine. I am not a tiny, dainty, overly feminine girl. I don't wear makeup. I don't dress girly. I can do, but I don't really do. I'm 5'10". Even at my what would be my normal weight of 175, 180, I am still a big girl to an extent. I'm just framed that way. And realistically, in my mind, for me, I need somebody who's kind of masculine to balance me out, number one. And number two, to kind of manhandle me a little bit so that they can reestablish for me that I am feminine. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense. They are still hysterical. They just kind of took a spin on it with this whole politics side of things. I mean, but their comedy shows are really funny though. Could never date one of them. I don't agree with their stances, but they're great. See, that's the thing. Like I'm very middle ground for the most part on my politics. I agree with stuff to the left and to the right, which I guess would make me right leaning either way, no matter how you slice it, because that seems to be the current climate, I guess. But like I said, though, if it ever of the two, it would have to be Kevin, because Keith is just way too serious for me. Demon got me. Love those videos. Yeah, well, yeah. And it's really, really difficult for me to find a guy that is my height or taller to actually date me most of the time, with the exception of one guy. With the exception of one guy, which is my ex-husband. Every guy I've ever dated has been shorter than me. Because most guys that are my height and taller than me, they want little 5'2" dainty chicks, and I am not 5'2", and I will never be dainty. It's just not in the cards for me. See, figured you'd get it. Alrighty, we will be here. We will continue our chit-chatting on random tomfoolery over here. I done doxed myself at this point. It just dawned on me that I doxed myself showing y'all that photo of me with the Hodge twins, because my whole Facebook account was like tied up in that, but I don't care. I ain't worried about it. Let somebody say what they want to say. I ain't worried. Anybody got enough cojones to try to start some nonsense with me over something silly about a conversation online, then they got something coming to them that they ain't prepared for. That's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, realistically, I'm going to be truthful with you here. I mean, I don't really bother nobody, not like that, but, you know, anybody gets butthurt enough that they want to take something as simple as conversation and opinion offline, then you deserve whatever it is that you got coming your way anyway. If anything, I would say probably Sala would end it, but I don't foresee it entirely going well, no matter how we slice it. Mainly because we already know that Foodie doesn't like to be told no, and her tendency is to lash out at people, and she will do probably whatever is within her capability to try to inflict some sort of pain or anything upon him. But given where she's at, I don't see that being a lot. Worst case scenario, I think a good majority of it on her part is going to be an onslaught online where she's talking all kind of crap about the stuff that he's done that's not legal and stuff like that. You think so? Maybe. See, I could see that happening, no doubt about it. Yeah, that too. As like I said, I mean, realistically, we already know that she kind of has a tendency to avoid symptoms of things being wrong with her. And by the time it does get bad enough that she actually gets afraid enough to actually say, I need to go to the hospital, it may be too late for them to save her, you know? Bingo. She got it. She gets me. She knows where I'm at right there. She knows where I'm at. I know you didn't pay attention. Most people don't, but you know, we already know we're not dealing with the most stable community of people around here. Yeah, they did have, but not quite so much anymore. I mean, we're talking about what, 10 years in? I mean, I'm going to say this, and I say this in the nicest way humanly possible. Like I said, I've been where they are. I used to be 350 pounds. Actually, hang on. I got good photo representation of that, actually. Hang on right here. Again, wasn't planning on having y'all look at my pajamas, but you know. Yeah, I lounge around in my pajamas even when I don't go to bed. Let's see. Because I just saw that. I saw them pictures not long ago. Ooh, that was in high school. I was 220 pounds. The weight was distributed differently then. Let's see, where did those photos go? Because I just got through looking at them. That was me in high school too. Way, way back in the day. I think I found them. Okay, so. Okay. That was me. Probably about a year before weight loss surgery. That is 345 pounds. Sorry about that. That's not the best. I mean, but you can see I was toting some weight on me. And then right there. See? So, you know. And at that point, that was 20 some odd years ago. So I get it. I was in my 20s there. I was still very active. I was still very up and about and doing stuff. But I mean, even prior to that, even before I got that big, all the way through high school, that's why I showed you guys those photos from high school. I was very much obese then, morbidly obese to a point. But I was still active. I was in marching band. I played basketball. I did all those things that, look, little mama's back. I did all those things that I should not really have been able to do as a girl that size. And I've done a lot of damage to my joints during that time frame. So even after a significant amount of weight loss, hi, baby, the damage is done. So even if, let's say, by some freak occurrence, Foodie or ALR actually did something right and actually lost weight, there's going to be long-term health issues either way. That's just the way it's going to go. The damage is done. You have to want to change what they don't. No, I agree with you on that. I mean, it goes back to that whole, hey, quit whacking the screen. Come here. Come here, you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was. I mean, but a good part of that though was the fact that I'm so tall. If I were shorter, I would probably have looked a lot. Um, have a good night. Don't get into no trouble. And if you do, don't name it after me. Um, I mean, if I were built more like my mom was only 4'11", and before she had weight loss surgery, she was only 250 pounds, and she was even bigger around than me. So height plays a pretty significant factor in that, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. If that's kind of like Foodie making that comparison with that photo of that lady at Disney. The woman that she was trying to compare herself to was somebody who is obviously my height or taller at the same body weight. It's an entirely different thing. The woman probably doesn't have drastic mobility issues either. I mean, don't get me wrong. I imagine that her being active probably is very uncomfortable for her, but probably not impossible like it would be for Foodie. Hi. Hi. Do you think you could lay down for me? Huh? Thank you. You're so sweet. That's my sweet little girl. Thank you. You can even use my arm as a pillow. I'm good with that. I'm right here. Yeah, sweet angel. See, she's a good girl. She is such a good girl. Yes, you are. Let me see. Okay, y'all. What else? What else? Because I don't know. Sorry, were you just talking about glitter and lasers? No. I was talking about somebody that Foodie included a picture of in one of her videos where she was talking about going to Disney. And it's nobody that I've ever seen before. Well, so yeah, that would be another good representation of same ballpark as Foodie and them. Tess Holiday is, wow, she is something else. No, actually, it wasn't. I don't know who this was, but this is somebody that I had never seen before. Was wearing like a romper sort of thing that was not very well fitted, but it wasn't anybody that I had ever laid eyes on before. I know who Tess Holiday is. It's kind of hard not to with the whole health at every size political rigmarole and conversation that goes on. No, and it wasn't glitter and lasers. I mean, I haven't really watched a lot of glitter and lasers videos. I mean, I've seen like stuff that included her, but not really anything specifically about her. I don't really follow people kind of like glitter and lasers and like your Alex Rodriguez's. I know who they are, but I don't follow them simply because I don't entirely jibe with those people who have highly curated visual video type stuff. I mean, if you're going to do YouTube videos and you're going to vlog, then be honest about who you are, that's just the way I see it. And they don't really do that. So it doesn't really quite jibe with me. She's something else. There's no question. I agree that she is. I mean, she's not really doing herself any favors with some of the stuff that she's doing. I mean, don't get me wrong. If she wants to do what she wants to do, that's fine. It's the same perspective that I have on her that I have on the rest of these girls. But the difference between Foodie and ALR and Tess is Tess expects me to tell her she's beautiful and that she's perfect and that she's healthy when I know she's not. No idea. It's kind of hard to not end up, I think, on that side of things at some point or another, simply because ALR and Foodie both, they have a tendency to test people's patience, or they gaslight them to the point that they get fed up. I mean, take a look at the Holy Trinity on Foodie's side. I mean, they were nothing but 100% blindly loyal and did everything she asked them to do, and they kissed her butt the entire time they dealt with her. And then they laid out one concern on their part, and that was it for her. You're done. You're out. I'm through. You never supported me, this and that. And it's like, boo-boo, you got issues if you don't see that them people literally behaved as though the sun rose and set on your butt. She is, but, you know, so is ALR. The only difference is that Foodie is more open and honest about how vile she is. She is actually presenting who she is, whereas ALR tries to be covert. ALR is a gaslighter. Rather than saying outright what she feels about something or just saying what she thinks, she kind of does it backhandedly and then tells people, no, that's not what I meant. How dare you mistake what I said? Really? That would be interesting. He's looking for a parent. Yeah, she got daddy issues. She got daddy issues. Mm-hmm. She hates her mother. That's why she hates all women. She attaches herself to every man that gives her attention because she has no daddy. So, you know. Hi. You're so sweet. I wouldn't think so. Carly actually doesn't seem to be that bad, not based on what I've seen of her. Well, I mean, you know, I'll rephrase. On her YouTube stuff, she doesn't seem to be that bad. She actually seems to be pretty nice. Now, as to her behind the scenes or on her OnlyFans side, I ain't never seen none of that other than what people have posted on Twitter that involved Foodie, which by itself was more than I ever wanted to see of either of them. I actually wanted to kind of scrub my eyeballs, be truthful. Yeah, me too. I kind of listen to a little bit of everything. Oh, I'll tell you the other thing that I've got that's not on your list. I don't really do a lot of religious stuff. I'll do a lot of spiritually based stuff. I do some politics stuff, but it's like middle ground stuff. I kind of go all over the place. There's certain ones on the left-leaning side that I just can't listen to, but, you know, I do kind of touch a little bit all over on the politics and the news. But I do a lot of movie reaction channels because I love watching, especially younger people, react to movies that I grew up on and seeing their actual natural response to stuff that I'm just like, yeah. That to me that's just cringy. That's just beyond cringy. I mean, I don't really give a rip, you know, what a man's ethnicity is or where he's from. If he's a good looking man, then he's just a good looking man. That it doesn't have anything to do with, you know, that's just me. Dran Henson. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna have to look her up then. No. I was thinking Carly is in the chick that did the OnlyFans content with Carly and Josh, you know, the cute couple. Exactly. There is no one particular side, you know. Yeah. Was horrible, is horrible. She gets me with this whole, I hate white people. I don't like white men. It's like, honey, have you looked at yourself lately? I know your filters are working overtime, but they did not make you any other ethnicity but white. Would you stop it? Oh, that's a very insightful it's a very insightful assessment. I could see that. I could see that. The idea of relinquishing control to a man simply because to her probably would be appealing simply because she has never really had a man who has actively taken control of her in all aspects. Even Nader really didn't to an extent. He was just an asshole. You going back out to check on Boo Man? And I'm going to say this, and anybody can take it how they like, but I'm so glad that the whole Nader thing is done and over with because he is a vile, disgusting human being. And in all sincerity, and people can say what they like about this, but Dee Dee is the perfect match for him because she's just as disgusting as he is. Oh, Pulpy's on. Skinny's on. Pulpy, though, Pulpy is like running it wild. He's almost at 400 folks watching him, although it doesn't rightly surprise me. Pulpy is beyond adorable. I love Pulpy. He is so cute. Ooh, that is just, girl, that's a kind description. That's a kind description. Yes, they absolutely do. I will never understand it. I will never understand it. But we already know, though, too, that, I mean, the foodie thing with Nader, it doesn't really surprise me. We already know, again, she has a tendency to fetishize men, Middle Eastern men right off the bat. All she saw was that he was Egyptian. He was, what do you call it, exotic. And that's all she could see. I mean, she painted him out to be like this Adonis, and he was far from it, which is really, really ridiculous. Good night, cowboy dog. See you later. And she's doing the same thing with Saleh. She has kind of made him out to be something that he's not, which produced in both of them this big-headed ego thing that they really have no need for, and they have nothing to justify. I mean, I think we've seen that. I mean, Saleh had the potential to be a halfway decent-looking guy, but then he opened his mouth and he ruined every bit of it. Oh my goodness, y'all. We've been at this over 2 hours now. Holy moly. Time has just kind of flew. may have to some sort of an extent initially, but I think if he did, it was with the character that she allowed him to see. I mean, she obviously wasn't showing him or telling him everything. I mean, she's really, most narcissists are that way. They're going to show you what little bit they want you to be able to see. And then once they get their claws dug in good, then the mask kind of slips off and the true person comes out. And that's really, I think that's what happened with, that, I believe. No question about it. The Jessie retro reading thing today, if you guys haven't seen that, I was like straight giggling because she was like, oh girl. And it is literally the projection that she got was that they're both at that state of, how do I get out of this? I did not realize it was going to be like this. And they both feel like the other is lying to them. And that is basically what we're seeing on screen to an extent. The only difference is it's not as clear. No, I mean, what else is he going to do? I mean, unless he actually does lock her in the apartment, which we already know she'll quickly let it be known that he does that. If he locks the refrigerator, she would tell, that sort of thing. I mean, anything he does to actually maintain some control over her, she will out him, especially if she doesn't get her way. We know that. Yep, the hard way. Girl, I will not lie to you. I was 100% giggling all the way through it because, okay, real talk. Okay, so I have a video from like at the very beginning of when I started the channel. I actually use Jessie Retro for readings. I do video readings with her like every so often, like periodically. And the crazy thing is like the very first reading that I did with her, I went into it with this, I'm not going to tell her a lot. I'm going to hit like some basics with her. Oh, I didn't mean to hit the mic. I hit some basics with her and I'm going to allow her to read for me because I don't entirely know for sure if I even believe in this stuff. Well, I'm going to tell you, I actually, when I signed up for the reading, I put my name in, Heather. I didn't put any other identifiable information. The email address that I used for that reading was not tied to my Facebook account or anything along those lines. And do you know, there was so much stuff that she said that actually lined up with stuff that had happened, that was currently happening. And I was just like, holy crap. Well, I'm going to tell you, I mean, I don't entirely wholeheartedly believe in it, not like that. I'm not one of those people that I'm like, it's because I'm a Libra, or, because Mercury's in retrograde, I don't go that far, but, I will. But, I do I'm kind of curious about it just to see if, things kind of continue to line up. I'm I look at it as like I'm performing an experiment of sorts. I want to kind of see if like the things that she says are kind of consistent from one to the next and whether or not the things that she's projecting for me actually kind of transpire. Because let's be real, part of what lended me to actually do a reading with her in the first place is she nailed so much about Foodie that I was like, I got to just try it. I just got to try it. Right. Yeah. Basically, I mean, I'm not going to weigh everything. I'm not going to like stack everything upon it, but I will kind of take it and kind of listen and kind of see, if how I'm feeling aligns with what's projected and stuff like that. It kind of helps, I guess, give me an additional outside perspective, if that makes any sense. There's something, and not everyone is crazy, but most of them are. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I see. Would it be too personal to ask what religion you are? I'm just curious. I asked that. I come from a very mixed religious family. Fiona's mom, are you still here? TikTok Idaho Psychic. Can't say I've ever heard of them. I'll have to look them up. Well, I was actually asking Learning to Live, but I'll gladly hear what you are too, Fiona's mama. But I was just checking in to see if you were still with us. I actually have another song for you if you're interested. For Christ, leaning toward Orthodoxy. Oh, Catholic. My dad's family was Catholic. My grandmother was. My grandmother and my great-grandmother were very, very staunch Catholics. Actually, I can tell you a story. Very first tattoo I got, I was 17. It was not long after I moved out of the house. My grandmother, we went to all of my family, my dad's side and my mom's side, we would all get together at Easter. And I showed up with this tattoo. And my grandmother told me I was going to go to hell because I got a tattoo. I made her big mad over that. Because I told her that, if I was going to hell, then she was going to be right there beside me because she had her ears pierced. And she said, that is absolutely not the same thing. I said, yes, it is. I said, it is the same thing. I said, you have altered your flesh. I said, that is the exact same thing. I said, just because you take it out and the holes close up, don't mean anything, Grandma, sorry. And she would not talk to me the rest of the day. She was that angry. Very, very old school. Now, I mean, mind you, she was probably in her 50s at that point, I think. As she got a little older, like 60s, 70s, early 80s and everything, she kind of softened up a little bit and everything. But I also noticed too that, there was selective application over whether or not somebody was going to hell, depending upon who it was. But not everybody, it's different generation type of thing too. Like with my grandma, like I said, she told me that I was going to hell, but then when my cousin got one, who was my cousin on my dad's side, when she got a tattoo, it was totally fine. So, I mean, my grandma was a little bit of a conundrum, but I loved her. She was hard. She was difficult to deal with, but I loved her. Yeah, exactly. Holy moly, that is for real old school Catholicism right there. Holy moly. Oh my goodness. So, okay. Now that we done got into it, hang on a minute. See, when I was this age, I could do no wrong. I was the first grandkid at that point. See, that was my grandma. Not a very good picture. As you guys can see how old that is. I was probably 2 or 3 in that picture. Let's see. We're kind of going on the way back machine here, y'all. And then this cousin, after she was born, things got very strange with Grandma. Oh, wait, that's a better picture. That's Grandma. She was a very pretty lady. She could never, she was single for oh my Lord. Well, that doesn't shock me. People who have a tendency to be repressed end up that way. Let's see. Oh, there's Grandma. That was Grandma. She was probably in her early 60s then. She was much more relaxed then. Let's see. Great Aunt Rita. Oh, since y'all hear me talk about resident schools are on the reserves. Wow. Yeah, I know we've had multiple conversations about my mom. Y'all will probably hear me talk about her again. This is my mom. That was when that was after she got her nurse practitioner's. She finished school for that. Let's see. Let's see. Oh. How about this? This is the weight that I'm trying to get back down to. That is 170 on me. That's been a few years ago. That picture's staying out. I got to find a frame for that. Let's see. I got all kind of crazy stuff in this box. I had pictures strewn across boxes and boxes and boxes, and I had to consolidate them. Oh my goodness, y'all. She would tell people, thank you. I thought she was. My mom would tell people, God made me smart and he made me beautiful, but he didn't make me tall. She was only 4'11", little teeny thing, but she was, despite only being 4'11", she could walk into a room and take up like 75% of it simply with her personality alone. She was truly a force to be reckoned with. That whole saying, she be little, but she be fierce, 100% applied to her. I'm so sorry to hear that. Hopefully you still have access to some of them. You can get with family and stuff like that can give you copies of stuff. I say that, okay. I say that, take, talking about specifically about my mom. My mom's parents died when she was 10, and when her dad died when she was 10, her mom died when she was 12. And they did not have a lot of photos and stuff at the time that was able. They basically just kind of grabbed what they could get their hands on, because they all kind of got scattered throughout the family until a lot of them were old enough to take in the younger siblings. So that's how I ended up with my older brother and sister. My parents adopted them when they got married. Oh, that sucks. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. That's too bad, Fiona's mom. I do. And I got a lot. I have moments where, I still think about stuff and I just like laugh like a crazy person, but then there are times though too that I'm just like, it's like that, what's the name of that dude's song? It's like that Chris Young song, where you're sitting there and you're kind of like, missing you comes in waves, and tonight I'm drowned, and I'm gonna laugh and I'm gonna cry a little and stuff like that. I have those moments still, and it's probably because it's still so new still, but I haven't had a full on meltdown in a while, so I think that's progress. Either that or I'm developing some really, really poor coping mechanisms, one of the two. Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, pictures are nice to have, but your memory can be just as sharp as any photo if you think about things hard enough. Yep, it absolutely is. And, it's just going to take time. It's going to take time and progress and work on my part. And I've been doing everything that I can to try to, work on my the mental health side of things. Physically, we already know, we've been new. I've been making progress on that department. That's no issue. But, having those moments where, I literally grab my phone to pick the phone up to call her, that's actively taking work on my part to not do, because she was the person that I called. And as much as I love my dad, it's not the same thing calling him. It's just not. I think we already know as women that talking to other women and talking to men versus talking to women, that's two entirely separate things. Girl, I didn't even really know to dread it up until the point that it happened. And I'm going to tell you, all I can tell you from this perspective is to embrace the moments as you have them, and to tell them that you love them as much as you can, and to say the things that you need to say, and do the things that you want to do. That's really, if anything, I tried to be one of those children because my parents had me so young. They had so many kids so young. They started a marriage with 2 kids that weren't theirs. They were pregnant with me, and then they had my brother 3 years later. So at a very young age, before they were even 20, they had 4 kids living in their house. And I got to that point where once I moved out, I kind of, especially once my younger brother was old enough to move out, I kind of took a step back from them and left them to their own devices, because the way I figure it, they've given up so much of their youth trying to take care of these kids, take care of all us kids, that they deserve to be able to have their time to themselves. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have been over there more. I would have been calling more. I would have been further into it, you know. I would have been more hands-on and involved than I was. And it was simply because I was trying to allow them to have their life and their marriage to themselves, to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense. Yep. I miss her all the time, man. I get it. Yes, it does. It does, and I understand that. I mean, I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. Like, I have actually said before, like, there were people like that knew me that had lost a parent that tried to tell me that they understood what I was going through, but I knew how their parents had died, and it was not the same thing. That if what happened with my mom had been the end result of an illness, maybe it would be easier for me to accept it, but that's not what this was, not even close. But at the same time, it happened so fast that I can't be angry. I mean, I was angry, but now that I've processed it, I can't really be angry because she did not have to suffer. So it makes perfect sense. Yes, I agree. And that is absolutely a blessing. So take advantage of that while you got it. Well, okay. When I say, let me explain. And I'm not trauma dumping. I'm just explaining what happened. My mom's passing was not anything naturally based. It was not like a heart attack. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't cancer, anything like that. A teenage boy backed over her when he was backing out of a parking spot because he didn't see her because of how short she was. And I'm not telling you guys that to upset you all. I'm just kind of explaining things. When I say that maybe it would have been easier to accept if it were something natural, because frailty is a part of the human condition. But one never thinks about stuff like this, you know? Nobody really plans for that. Nobody can really say, okay, you know, it just doesn't make sense, no matter really how you look at it. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but yeah. It was definitely a shock. I mean, it was just up until the point that my dad called me. It was just a normal Tuesday for me. It was just like, I mean, what does one do with that? I went from well, but I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm trying so hard to not. Okay, I'm not saying that I won't. I mean, I appreciate having you guys here, but when I say, like when I said in that video about how I will not ever be like ALR or Foodie Beauty, I do not want to have you guys be like a security blanket. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have you guys have to be that everything for me. I don't want you guys to end up being my therapist. It's not fair to y'all. I mean, hell, I wouldn't want nobody to do that to me. I certainly wouldn't want to do it to anybody else. Makes it worse to me, an accident all of a sudden like that with no health reasons. Yeah. See, and that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I was saying, you know, and like I said, I didn't mean to like, it wasn't like trying to trauma dump, you know, I was just kind of explaining. It was very, very, it was very unexpected. And that made it really, really hard, you know? No, and I get that. And I do appreciate it. I really do. You know, but if I ever get to that point, and I did say this in that video too, you know, that that if I ever start to do things that kind of resemble ALR or foodie booty behavior, I want y'all to say something. Okay. Because I don't want to take things too far, like ever take things too far. Okay. Well, here's where it's complicated. Here's where it's complicated. Based on what the police department told me, the truck had a backup camera in it. Here's the problem. Thank you. Here's the problem. Okay, I got to lay out like details on this. The owner of the truck was not the person driving the truck. There were two people in the truck. The driver in the truck was in the passenger seat because he had been treated at the hospital that my mom worked at. He had been given narcotics because he had a pretty nasty injury. He had like a hairline lumbar fracture or something like that. And because they gave him pain medication, he couldn't drive. The person that was in the passenger seat was a 16-year-old boy who was this man's motorcycle student. Here's the caveat. This truck was a dually. I don't know if you're familiar with what dually is. Dualies kind of sit at an angle. So the bed of the truck is high up. The front is just a tad bit lower. 16-year-old and the vehicle owner are both from Canada. So, yeah, the situation is complicated. It's like the whole situation is just, it is very, very complex and very, very hard to rationale. But, you know, realistically, I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. I had thought about that. And I've been talking to one of my cousins. One of my cousins actually used to work at the Capitol here in Tallahassee. And she actually works at the Capitol, the U.S. Capitol in D.C. now. And I told her that I did want to actually discuss what would be necessary to have a requirement for backup cameras on a lot of these bigger trucks, because you guys may not see it a lot where you're at, but a lot of the teen to 20 age group, these boys like to jack their trucks up like 3, 4 feet, 5 feet off the ground sometimes. And I don't really ever want anybody else's family member to have to worry about this sort of thing. And we already know that especially teen boys and boys in their 20s, they don't really pay attention like they should. And my mom wasn't even 5 feet tall. If you'll think about it, most high school freshmen are about the same height. They're 5 foot, 5'1", 5'2". They haven't quite hit their growth spurt yet. And all I could think is I do not want anybody to have to worry about their kids, because at that age, they're not going to be walking their kids across the parking lot, you know? So, I'm working toward that eventually, and I'm having my discussions with her about putting some sort of legislation in that direction. But, you know, I got to have more conversations with her about it. Right. And I'm going to be truthful with you. I was very angry from the moment that I found out that my mom had died up until the point that one of the police department officers, who is a very, very dear friend of mine, probably one of my best friends, So over the course of maybe 30 minutes, I was ready to strangle the life out of whoever it was that did it. And then I found out it was a 16-year-old boy. And then after that, all the anger left my body because, I mean, I can think of all the times that I've done things irresponsibly when I've driven as a 16-year-old and not really thought about it at the time. And I was lucky enough that I didn't hurt somebody. And unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case. Yeah, and I was for a really, really long time. I went to a dark place for a while. And I really do, honestly, if anything, I feel bad for the kid because from what I understand from talking again, same cop, his name is Corey. Corey actually told me during the investigation process, he actually had to watch the video footage from the hospital's security system. And that kid, he got a good look at what he did. And he's the one that ran into the hospital to get help. So I have no doubt that kid, maybe even now, he may very well close his eyes at night, every night to go to sleep, and he may still see it. All I can hope is that that doesn't completely derail this kid's life, because that wouldn't be what my mom would have wanted for him. She would have wanted him to learn from it and to use that experience to help somebody else and to teach others. That's what she would have wanted. And because that's what she would have wanted, that's what I want to. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, to an extent, if you'll think about it, there are so many more car crashes than there are plane crashes and train derailments and stuff like that. But I mean, why not try though? I'm going to tell God's honest truth. My family used to laugh at me after I got sober at some of the stuff that I would do because I would go out of my way to do stuff that scared me all the time. There's still stuff that scares me that I haven't done yet, but my aim is to do them. And there is method to my madness, and I would explain it to them, If I can give you an example. One thing I used to be terrified of was the prospect of singing in front of people, like a group of people. And I did it. I finally pushed myself to do it. And I realized not only was it not bad, it was actually fun. I got a thrill out of it. And the way I figure it, the more stuff that I do that scares me, eventually I'll be able to do more. And the things that scare me will mean less to me simply because of all the things that I've done so far that I was terrified to do. And I see that now from a whole new perspective, simply because the thing that I would be most terrified of has happened to me, and I've lived through it. Losing my mom was probably the biggest fear that I could possibly have. Well, then here's what you do then. You take her out, you go on a trip, take a day trip, go out to the middle of nowhere and learn that child the basics of driving out in a rural area. You know what I'm saying? Where she's not having to be around quite so many people so that she feels safer. You know what I mean? Just to give her the experience. Yeah. It might actually empower her a little bit. You never know. Well, it isn't really that. It isn't stuff that I'm not able to do. It's stuff that like I was scared of, like singing in front of people. I'm scared of heights. stuff like that. I mean, mental stuff, not stuff that I'm physically afraid of doing, but mental block mostly stuff. Right. See, and that would be the way to do it. Take you a day trip or like a weekend trip, go out to the country, stay in a cute cabin, teach her how to drive on the country roads where, she can go slow, kind of get the feel of it, not feel pressured, that sort of deal. A Sherman tank. That's funny. Right. That is an excellent point. You get that girl versed in driving a stick shift, she gonna have a leg up on all the other folks in her age group because none of them know how to drive a stick shift. I'm a firm believer that all of us Gen Xers and older folks, we could literally take the world back if we went back to every vehicle went back to stick shift and we went to all the print. No more print. Everything had to be written cursive. Every generation from Gen Z on through millennials, they would lose it. They would not be able to function. Holy moly. Okay, sorry. I was looking at Pulpy's numbers. Me too. Both of the vehicles that I've got right now are automatics, and I miss a stick shift every day. Oh, girl, who you telling? You are preaching to the choir on that. I cannot even get over it. My homegirl that went axe throwing with me, Nikki, I love her to death. God bless her. She's sweet as she can be. She's only like 21 or 22. She's so sweet and so cute. She is 100% millennial. The difference is I think realistically me and her get along the way we do because she's an older soul. And she was kind of at the same place that I was at that age where she was sick of doing little kid stuff and dealing with little kid foolishness. But she has so much millennial in her that it is just like, no, boo-boo, you can't be doing that. I'm like, why? Like her tire was flat for some reason when we came back to the house. And she was going to call AAA to come out and change her car tire. I was like, no. By the time they get here, you could have already had that tire changed and already be halfway to the house, girl. No. We're not doing that. Girl. My dad actually taught me how to drive a stick. That was an awful experience. My dad does not have patience for stuff like that, but I'm glad he taught me. I don't know if you know or not, but like I think I saw it somewhere where they said like now as we pass from one generation to the next that attention spans have dropped. And now, look at where they're at. They're on TikTok where the entire span, like the longest video is like 3 minutes. What does that say about where their kids are going to be at in relation to attention span? It's not a good sign. Right. And that's why I told her, I was like, I'm sorry, honey. I'm like, I do not know why your mom didn't teach you this. Do not be relying on nobody because you may get yourself into a position where you're on the way to work somewhere in the middle of the night, on the way home from somewhere, like work in the middle of the night, and you end up with a flat tire. You don't want to be sitting out in the middle of nowhere in the dark for 30 minutes or longer waiting on somebody to come change your tire. It would just be easier. Oh, yes. And since the big beauty thing is the huge inflated lips are going to look like goldfish too. Go figure. I got lucky. The vehicle that my dad taught me how to drive a stick in was a CRX. You remember one of those that looked like a little, it was like a little pointy car in the front. It was flat in the back, little hatchback thing. I agree wholeheartedly. That's why things, when facts are given, that's deemed unjust or bigoted or whatever. Facts are not a thing anymore. They don't want people to have facts. They don't want honest, unbiased view of things anymore, and it's crazy. That thing was a hot mess and a half. But the crazy thing was the vehicle that I had that I actually learned to drive in, that I drove at 15 and 16, it was a old Mercury station wagon, a Mercury Lynx. Air conditioner didn't work. Tailgate thing didn't sit up. You had to prop it up with a broom. Took the car over 50. The whole car vibrated. Didn't matter what you did to it. Toyota Corolla. Do they even make those anymore? Well, having a book education is a good thing. I do agree on that. There is some of that I do think is beneficial. But at the same time, though, some common sense, I mean, you can have a book education all day long and be absolutely ignorant in the way of common sense. I mean, I've dealt with plenty of people that are like that. And it's just like, okay, I mean, the biggest issue that I have, like with the educational system, the way that it works now, is they're pushing degrees so hard, but they're not anything practical. You know what I'm saying? I mean, realistically, this is going to sound bad. And I am not a misogynist by any stretch of the imagination. But what exactly are you going to contribute to society with a degree in women's studies? I mean, I have to ask that question. I mean, I think that's a valid question. There's a good car, a tree fell on it. Oh, no. But why ask questions if no one listens to the answer? There's a reason people have devoted their lives to various industries. No, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. That makes perfect sense. I mean, take a look at me. I mean, it's 20 plus years in the medical field, devoted my life to serving others, trying to make their lives better. But at the same time, though, I do kind of feel like that what I do contributes to the life of the people that I actively work with on a day-to-day basis. Even the ones that I work with now, which, to me is kind of a stretch to an extent, because I've got like 100 patients all total in the building. I see maybe 18 of them over the course of the night. And all I'm doing for them is I'm putting on their TED hose because they can't do it themselves. I'm helping them make sure that they take their medication on time because, that's part of what I'm there for. But I'm still actively doing something. If I were not there, or someone were not there, they may miss their medication. They may not get those TED hose put on and their legs will swell, stuff like that. But what I'm doing, no matter what environment I'm in, I feel like it makes a difference to an extent because I'm taking care of them, which means they're still around. maybe even a little bit longer for the sake of their families. You know what I'm saying? But something like basket weaving, a degree in basket weaving, what is that gonna do for the greaterment of society? You know, that's kind of where my mind is. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a degree, but I mean, it's applicable to what I'm using it. It's applicable to what I'm doing. Too many companies. Huh? You ain't telling me nothing I ain't figured out. Agreed. I do think too that they're pushing degrees too hard when we need more people to actually do things like being electricians, being plumbers, being nurses, all that stuff. I mean, we need those people to do those jobs that don't require degrees. I mean, no offense to anybody with a degree, myself included, but my degree is not going to help fix my electrical system. But people don't cancel basket weavers. Well, yeah, that's very true. Very true. And most of those people, they fall right in line with what they're told, though. That's another thing. That too. That's something that I've noticed too, especially recently. I've worked with a lot of take like Nikki. I love Nikki. Nikki's a brand new nurse. She's still learning, but there's stuff that I've had to show her that she should have already learned in nursing school that they didn't teach her. And that's scary. I mean, and me and one of her classmates were actually talking about this at work the other night. There is so much that nursing entails that they don't teach you when you're going through nursing school. What they're doing is they're teaching you the bookwork that's necessary for you to pass the state licensure. That's basically all they're doing. And no amount of clinical time frame is actually going to teach you the hands-on of what nurses actually do. You don't learn that until you're actively out and in the environment working with people. The sad thing is that with nurses, they have a tendency to eat the young. The ones that are back in the day when I was brand new out of school, I mean, I worked with nurses that had 10, 12, 15 years on me, and they ate me alive every single opportunity they got. But, the fact is that the strong have a tendency to survive in this particular field. And the bad thing is that in the process, they actually run off a lot of really good nurses doing that. Girl, then hey, you got started at the right time, because if you tried to start in your field now, then whoo-wee, girl, there's no telling exactly what kind of requirements they would ask of you for that. Right. Right. Really? I have a friend of mine that she actually works in, trying to think. She's actually a procurement specialist right now, but she actually used to be over maintenance at the company that she and I worked at together back in the day when I ran the medical department at the chicken plant forever ago. But I'm going to tell you, homegirl knew her stuff. She did that. She started like you, like brand new right out of high school, but she already had some experience with the mechanical side of things, from her dad. And do you know, them men would test her every opportunity they got. But do you know, that girl could hold her own and she didn't take no flack off of nobody. I can almost imagine that you are the same way. See, I can kind of sort of relate to that to an extent with the correctional thing. Most of your correctional staff are going to be men. I'm talking about like 80% men. And the craziest thing is, though, I really enjoy working with a predominantly male staff versus a female staff. So, I mean, I understand. You do got to be tough. You can't take things like personal, because a lot of times they're just saying what it is they need to say and getting it out. And 9 times out of 10, right after that, they're fine again, as opposed to women who take everything and they nurture it and they pet it and they water it and fertilize it and they grow it into this huge thing that is based off of something this small. Is Oh, Fiona, here's that other song I was telling you about. It's not like that other one. It's not a bopper like that other one, but it's a good song, though. Same guy, different sound, different makeup. Still a good song, though.
Losing it, I never did. Just wanna go out and live. These wings too big to be held up in all these stitches, yeah. Don't wanna go high, gotta go right, gotta go right, yeah. Don't wanna go high, gotta go right, gotta go right, yeah. Roll up, frozen, flipping, golden, going up and up and swallow. Make you feel better, more. We really don't know where to go. We're stuck in a crate. Is it a setup, golden page? Lord, now, looking like I've never been before now. All our hope is laying on the Lord now. It feels good to know I'm not alone, not alone. Lord, now, looking like I've never been before now. All our hope is laying on the Lord now. It feels good to know I'm not alone, not alone.
All right, that's only half of it. I don't want to like play the whole thing, otherwise I might get copyrighted. He's very good. He actually does. He's got a whole channel that does like he talks about like varying topics and stuff. And that's kind of how I found him. Like one was like about pretty privilege. Hang on, I can't remember the title of it. Oops, come on now. Well, darn, I don't see it. Anyway, he's got like 307K subscribers. His name is Pierre XO. Hang on, I can show you. I don't even know why I'm farting around. I could have done showed you. Screen one. Allow. He's got all kinds of stuff on here. He was actually on Jubilee at one point years upon years ago, and it blew his channel up because he did not respond the way people thought that he should. Let me find it. How your physical appearance affects your life, your feelings in your life. And it says, and do looks really matter? And he's a very, very pretty guy. I mean, just naturally, he always very rare. I don't think I've ever seen one video of him or one picture of him without some sort of makeup on, but he does let's see, this one right here. He actually makes his own movies at home, and they're in short form. And he's the only person in them. He plays multiple characters. He's very, very, very talented. It's ridiculous. Let me read that. Let's remove that. Remove stop screen. Okay. He's actually, believe it or not, okay. I found him by accident. But once I found him, I started watching all the stuff off of his main channel, which would include live streams where he would have something like 300 people in there. And he is very much a free thinker of sorts. He sees kind of everything from both sides. He's a very, very intelligent guy. Very nice guy. I've had a couple of conversations with him. Very, very nice guy. And he actually did a secondary channel. He actually lives in the Czech Republic in Prague. His second channel is literally for the entirety of lockdown. He was doing like 5-6 hour live streams where he was just conversation all over the spectrum. And once lockdown lifted in the Czech Republic, he actually has one of those unicycles, those electric unicycles. He would go out and live stream and unicycle around the city and go places and do things. And he's very funny. But he makes his own little short movies. He does his own music. He does his own videos. Very, very smart, though. I love all his stuff. He probably has no bloody clue who I am, though, other than, the occasional super chat or comment that I've had with him, or the occasional email I've sent him. But I love people like that. I love actual people that are capable of having rational conversations, especially like off the wall conversations. I don't do real big on the chit chat stuff. I want to have those deep, meaningful off the wall conversations. Like I want to talk about galaxies and alien abduction and conspiracy theories. I love talking about all kind of wild stuff. I love that. I genuinely think that you guys would probably love him. But I will tell you to be prepared. He is very much an Aquarius personality type where he has a regular existential crisis. So be ready for that. Right, that too. There was another guy too that I can't think of. His name is Richard something or another. And he's got his own channel. He's a therapist, but him and Pierre would do videos together. No, ma'am. He is 100% Aquarius across the board. Very flippant, very smart, very I'm trying to think of that word. It escaped just as soon as I went to say it. It escaped me. Eccentric. Very eccentric. But that's part of what makes him so charming. To me, anyway. He's one of those people that he's always taking on a new hobby. And he learns enough of it till it stops being challenging, and then he loses interest. Like like at one point, he was doing boxing. It stopped being challenging. He started doing wood carving. It stopped being challenging. He knows how to do card tricks. He knows how to do magic tricks. I'm trying to think. He's a dancer. There's videos of him like dancing. I'm trying to think of what else. But he's one of those ones that he's so smart that eventually stuff stops being challenging to him, and he loses interest. he's one of those kinds. And it's just like, I wish I had the mental capability and the energy to be able to change hobbies and pick them up that fast. Agreed. Eccentric can be good, but he's eccentric in like a funny kind of way. The only downside to how he is he can be very moody. But, for the most part, probably 60-70% of the time, he's goofy and laughing at himself and making jokes and being silly and stuff like that. But he has those downturns where he gets into those existential crises and everything is dark. But not like a dangerous kind of dark, but like, oh my God, nihilism and that kind of thing. I once heard anyone can master anything if they do it for 10K hours. Well, he has nothing but time on his hands, so that doesn't surprise me. Have a good night, learning to live. Hopefully I'll see you again late the next go round. Oh yeah, it is getting late. That says there's four people in here still. If learning to live is going, that's going to leave 3. So it's just me and you, Fiona, because the other 2, I'm thinking Cowboy Dog is just kind of lurking and listening, which is cool. But we gonna need some more folks. Either that or I might just have to let all y'all go. That way y'all can go to bed. Because I know, unlike me, you guys are not due to stay up all night. And y'all have daytime lives to live over the weekend. Night, learning to live. Bye. Actually, Fiona, I got one more song for you. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to play one more, a part of one more for you. And then I'm probably going to cut loose. I know you've heard the intro song on my videos, right? Bless his heart. I don't know how he does that. Well, Pierre actually sang that. I'm not going to tell a lie. I stole it from one of his songs. Hey, hang on. I'll show it to you. Do we not have an actual video for that, or is it just the... Well, we did have. Okay. Well, all right. Let me see. Oh. Let me see. Oops. Okay, it won't let me transfer it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen. I had to figure out a way to do picture in picture on this thing so that we're not... Wait, remove. Let's do this. Ha 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 ha. I might actually be able to do this without looking cray-cray. Okay, present. Share screen. Screen 2. Allow. I got it. Okay. So now let's check the volume. Let's check the volume. Boop. Okay. So yeah, I stole it. I ain't gonna tell no lie. I stole it from him. That's all him. And this is another bop one too that you could clean the house to. This song just makes me happy. Oh, do you know if the sun keeps shining? Okay, and I'm gonna kill it because again, I don't want YouTube to eat my butt up. So, so yeah, I need to start. I need to start giving him credit in the description. I keep forgetting to do that, but yeah, that's where I stole that from, and I love the hell out of him. He's honestly, he doesn't get nearly as much credit as he deserves, to be honest. So I think I'm gonna call it. I mean, we've 3.5 hours in. I mean, we've talked about a little bit of everything, a whole lot of nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I think we can call it a pretty successful night as far as I'm concerned. It's definitely more than I would have done if I hadn't been live. Now, I really thank you for keeping me company because, like I said, it would have just been me and the fur balls on the couch watching YouTube videos, movie reactions probably. So I appreciate it. I really do. Not just to you, but to Learning to Live and Cowboy Dog and Grateful Life and everybody that took a second to come on in here. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate y'all. You know, I don't get to really do a whole lot of live streams with you guys, and you guys are my ride or dies here lately. I don't know if I could do any of this live stream and stuff without y'all, because sitting here having a whole conversation by myself is pretty awkward. So I thank you again. I'm gonna let you go. Try to go catch you a 15-minute nap. Okay. I'm gonna have some stuff coming up soon though. Hi to everybody on the replay. Anybody coming through, be sure to leave some comments, share some insight. Even if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I will catch up with you guys another time. Hope your weekend goes well. Be safe. Hug your loved ones. Tell them how much they mean to you. Love you guys. Have a good weekend. Bye. Mwah.